In this episode, we're talking about how to be intentional about making disciples. Hey there, welcome to another episode of Monday Moments, the show in which we take a deeper dive into Sunday's sermon and into God's Word. My name is Travis, your host. Excited to be back for a new year. If you're watching this or listening to this at the time that it's being released, Happy New Year. And with me today is Pastor James. Good to have you back in the saddle after Christmas and all of the cool, fun little program. I don't want to say programs. That sounds like I'm minimizing it. I'm not minimizing it. But all the Christmas celebrations with our kids' Christmas program and our family Christmas service and the land between times of December 28th, you know. So first message of the new year. What was on your heart? What was the Lord speaking to you? As you were prepping for this message. What was it that was really on your heart?
So I opened with kind of a story that set the frame for this, as I had just been in my own quiet time and study and just preparing for this year, and just really asking the Lord, what do you have for us this year? There were a couple of things that really stood out that we'll talk about over the coming weeks and months, but there was this one kind of key moment that I guess maybe the best way would be to say that it kind of undergirded all of this. Like it rests on this foundation in many ways. And it really is this understanding of if you strip it all down, what are we ultimately called to? And Matthew frames for us very well Jesus' words at the end of his gospel of, that to go into all of the world and preach the gospel, to make disciples, to baptize. And then he finishes with that promise that, lo, I'm with you always, even until the end of the age. And we talked about it a little bit in our preaching team meeting this morning, but the question really was from that passage in Luke 19, verse 10, the Son of Man came to seek and to save that which was lost. And I had to get pretty honest with the question of how often do I really think about those who are far from Jesus, especially coming out of a very busy season, not just the season of the year, but a season in my own life with things that are going on with Kelly and just the season that our kids are in and things like that. It's very easy for the entirety of my thinking to be consumed by really my own stuff and good things. I mean, I don't think that I don't think that we get distracted a lot of times. Certainly there's moments where we get distracted by things that are not profitable and fruitful, but I think in my own life, I was just kind of looking at it and going, no, there's a lot of really good things going on, and we're committing our time to these things. But ultimately, we have a commissioning to preach the word, to spread the gospel, to make disciples. And it really kind of came from that moment of just how often do I really think deeply about those in my own kind of sphere of influence who are far from Jesus, who don't have a relationship. And if I was being transparent, and I always desire to be, I would say that probably not enough. And Lord, help me to have a burden for the things that you have a burden for. And Jesus says very clearly, my purpose, the reason I was born, was to seek and to save that which is lost.
Yeah, and like you said, that's the That's the Great Commission.
Yeah.
The last words that Jesus said before he ascended is, go into all the world and make disciples. I don't have any empirical data on this, so this is going to be anecdotal at best.
Okay.
But I feel like, when we're kind of fresh after, coming to Christ and following him, we're really excited. We want to tell everybody about him. And then at some point, it seems like maybe we kind of get lulled into this routine of daily life where we can easily lose a focus.
Yeah.
How does that happen? Like, what are some of those things that keep us from living that lifestyle maybe of evangelism, disciple making, witnessing, whatever you want to call it? Like what kind of creeps in? How does that happen?
Yeah. So first I want to say I don't think it happens from some sort of a malicious intent. I don't think that there is this I have heard I've heard people try to use guilt and manipulation in these areas to be like, well, you just don't love people enough, or you're essentially, by your lack of these things, you're sending people to hell. I don't think that it's any of that. I have spent a fair amount of time looking at that. It's like, why does it seem like new believers? And the conclusion that I've come to has more to do with proximity than it does with anything else. When you come into the kingdom of God, you are coming out of the kingdom of darkness. It's to put it plain and simple. And coming out of the kingdom of darkness, most likely the majority of your sphere of connection is also people that are living in darkness.
Yeah.
And so you have readily accessible, it's the same people that you've hung out with all this time. And so you've got all of these people that you care about, and there's been this great change in your life. And so you want that to go into the lives of those that you really care about. You want to take those people with you. The longer you walk with Jesus, the more of those connections that you have in your life that are centralized around the church and around other people that are pursuing Jesus. And I want to make it very clear, there is a part of that is absolutely right.
Sure.
We should. The most important relationships in our life, and when I say important, I mean the relationships that we really rely on for support and for direction and things like that, should be godly relationships.
Yeah. We've never talked about Christian community on this podcast before. If it's that
here's my one
guitar
string. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I say that to say this: the community that carries you should be community that is pursuing the same things as you. Yeah. And what all that you're pursuing should come out of should be of Christ. And so, however, we are still called to draw others unto Christ through our interactions, through the way that we live our life, through being intentional about these things. And what Luke shares with us about Jesus's words is that there was a deliberate action on the part of Christ.
Yeah. There
was a seeking that was evident all throughout his ministry. He was going to places intentionally. He was purposeful in these things. And what needs to happen in our life is not that we try to make sure that we have a whole lot of close friends with people who really don't have anything in common with us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that we would use the connections and kind of the intersections of relationship that the Lord brings into our life for the purpose of revealing Jesus to them.
That's good.
And the longer that you're walking with Jesus, I feel like the more intentional you have to be.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
very easy to
Yeah.
become not just comfortable. It's very easy to become complacent. And man, I've got this great Christian community around me, and I really don't need anything else. It's not all about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are to be about the things that Christ was about.
That's good. We
are to concern ourselves with the things that Christ concerned himself with. And the motivation from Jesus was that people who are far from him would be brought near to him.
Yeah.
And he did it in a very compassionate way. You've heard me preach over the years. Some of my favorite verses are looking at the compassion statements of Christ.
Yeah.
He saw this and he felt compassion. Compassion should always be our motivation in these things. And in order to do that, we have to be very intentional about our pursuit.
Yeah. One of the things I remember that you said on Sunday, you were talking about how sometimes God interrupts our lives. Whether it's, life is just going about its normal rhythms and routines. And then you use the example of Kelly's cancer.
Yeah.
And how all of a sudden, you were walking through this, you were dealing with this, but also you saw at the same time God was putting you in proximity to other people.
Yeah.
Who very much needed hope.
Yeah.
They needed God, I mean, to put it plainly.
Yeah.
And I'm not, obviously, I don't mean that in any way to be like accusatory or anything. I'm just saying I think we come across those interruptions in our lives from time to time. I'll personalize it and say, for me, I can get kind of bent out of shape about it sometimes. Like, man, God, what happened? Like life was going this way and all of a sudden it got interrupted, and I don't see it right away that God's interrupting it for a certain purpose and a certain reason. And I think that goes back to what you're saying about how sometimes we can just kind of get lulled into complacency.
Yeah.
And again, that's not necessarily, I'm not trying to put that on y'all's situation. I'm just saying in general, I think we can all fall into that where we're just going about life and we can kind of lose sight of what Jesus really came to say. We've heard the saying, right? We were saved on purpose for a purpose.
Yeah.
And I think we get caught up with like good things.
Yeah.
Jobs are obviously important. Kids are important. These things are good and important. I don't think God wants us to necessarily just willy-nilly stop those things.
No. Yeah.
But to also just to look up.
Yeah.
I think to see who God is placing around us. You mentioned spheres of influence several times, just now. And so I think again, for me, it becomes increasingly challenging to get out of my daily routine.
Yeah.
In my daily, I get up, I do this, I do that, I come home, I go to bed, rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
And to not look at who God is putting me in proximity with. That might need just the simplest expression of God's love for them was just, hey, how's it going? Something as simple as that, or can I pray with you, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
One of the things that you mentioned a second ago, I have experienced, I was I was fresh into youth ministry when I went through all this. You were there. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I experienced a lot of the guilt and the shaming side of evangelism, saying if you're not spending every free second evangelizing, you're wasting time. Mm-hmm. You're responsible for people going to hell. Yeah. What does I think of how I want to ask this question? Like, how do we become intentional without becoming legalistic and burdensome about it?
Yeah. Okay. So
she loved my question.
Yeah. In tomorrow's episode,
we won't even get into like Calvinism versus Arminianism.
Oh gosh, don't get me started.
Just kidding.
At the end of the day, I'll try to give this in somewhat of a complete package. It really comes down to where's your heart. Mm-hmm. I don't think that you can really truly encounter a deep level of brokenness in somebody's life that you love and not feel a sense of compassion. Yeah. And unfortunately, that has been missed more times than not. People will look at a encounter that Jesus has and they will acknowledge the confrontation, but they will miss his heart. It's like, oh, well, Jesus was the woman caught in adultery. Well, Jesus called her out.
Sure.
Yes, there is an element in all of this that we can't avoid or ignore the obvious.
Right.
But what is the goal? When around that same time, there was a book that was going around about what real evangelism looks like, and it was incredibly damaging. And I saw a lot of the street corner preachers holding up their signs, yelling out sins and things like that. And ironically enough, I stopped to talk to one. We were at an event, and I just asked him, like, "Hey, man, like, how's it going?"
Yeah.
And I won't say that he was belligerent, but there was this, like, he definitely had a motive in all of it. And when one of the questions that they would always ask is, have you ever sinned before?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, well, Scripture says, and that's what I said. I said, Scripture says all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. He's like, well, that means that you're going to hell. I'm like, well, not exactly. Because I am a follower of Jesus. Yeah. And he sat there and tried to convince me that I was not a follower. And I just thought, what is your heart here, man?
Yeah.
Like, what is your, like, you really, like, you have this vendetta that you're trying to settle with everybody, that unless they do things exactly the way that you want them, you're not going to be satisfied. And I think that there's a lot of people that have maybe experienced some of that within the church over the years, of this feeling of shame and guilt and condemnation. And I want to be crystal clear about this. The conviction of the Holy Spirit is real. And a lot of people have tried to say that, well, I was hurt by the church, or I was hurt by someone because they called this out in me, and and this should not have been done. And I'm like, no, like the conviction, but conviction is different than shame.
Yeah, yeah.
Shame is very, very personalized. Conviction is the Lord highlighting this thing in my life that says, this needs to change.
Yeah.
This is not healthy for you.
Yeah.
And so when it came to a lot of this, I need to be more of this and I need to be more of that. And if I'm not doing this, then I'm a horrible person and all of these different things. That just doesn't look to me at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think that Jesus was going around constantly going, man, I just wonder if I'm doing enough,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
But his motivation was towards the lost.
Yeah.
And so he was drawn
Yeah.
to telling lost people that there is a way to be in relationship again with the Father.
Right.
And that's the real misstep. And what's interesting is that a lot of people who have this strong kind of shame, fear-based mentality when it comes to the relationship with God and things like that, is that what is almost always visibly lacking in their life is a real tangible expression of love for the people around them.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, look, I don't care what you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what you've done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how gifted you are.
Mm.
I don't care how big of an audience you have. I want to know, do the people that are close to you feel loved by you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And not love according to your definition.
Right.
Because I think a lot of people want to define love in their own way.
That's good.
Well, I do that because I love you.
Yeah.
You don't get to define something that God created.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's by his definition.
Yeah.
And love has some challenging things.
Sure.
But it doesn't only have those challenging things.
Right.
Love is compassionate.
Mm-hmm.
Love is kind.
That's right.
Love is slow to anger.
Yeah.
All of those different attributes. And I look at that and I say, look, it's like love is like a I want to say from Shrek, love is like an onion.
It's like an onion. It's layers.
It's in layers. But if
you say parfait,
if we were to everybody likes parfait. The definition is not naming all of these separate attributes. Mm-hmm. It's defining what love is. And so if you take an apple and I say to you, oh, an apple is sweet, and you say, well, an apple is crunchy. And I say, well, an apple has seeds. We're not describing distinctly different things. We're describing the attributes of a single thing.
Right, right.
And so all of those things are right.
Yeah.
All of those things are also one.
Yes.
And when people define love, when they're using shame and guilt and condemnation, they're like, whoa, but it's, love confronts and love does these things. And I'm like, yes, but love also does these other things. It can't be
right.
You can't only have a sweet apple without also having a crunchy apple and an apple with seeds. Like you can't separate these things out. They're all in one package.
Yep.
And that would really be my challenge to people.
Yeah.
Is, am I motivated in these things by the right things?
Yep.
And here's the thing, we don't get a choice in whether or not we are called to be gospel bearers.
Yeah.
That is a part of, I'm a follower of Jesus. I am called to bear the gospel.
Right.
I am called to share the gospel. I am called to assist in making disciples of Jesus Christ. And so I can't partition these things out and be
Yeah.
like, oh, well, this is just the part that I'm called to.
Right.
You
Right.
know, I've had people tell me, well, you know, my calling is to call people out. No,
No.
I mean that might be at times needed,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but do those same people also look at you and go, man, I also really see love in this
Right.
individual's life.
Right.
Love makes conflict much more palatable.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to hear someone say, man, I'm called to be patient with people.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we think about that a lot. You know,
Yeah.
how God's patience with us
Oh gosh.
and how much I love and appreciate and am grateful for the fact that he's so patient with me. And yet I can be so impatient with other people.
Yeah.
And I think to kind of go back to what you're saying, it's, are we motivated by compassion? Are we motivated by love for the people around us? And I was reading a book, I'm just going to, an excerpt of that book was talking about, or the chapter in the book, I should say, is talking about God's holiness, you know, because God is just. And talking about unpacking the phrase, God is for me.
Yeah.
And what he's for my ultimate good and for my
Yeah.
ultimate success. And does that mean that he is going to bring conviction about some things? Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's also going to be patient with me.
Yeah.
He's also going to be merciful. He's also going to do all these other things because he's for my ultimate good. And I think the question I have to ask of myself, and I think we all have to ask of ourselves, is, am I for the people around me?
Yeah.
Like the way God is for me, the way that I know
Yeah.
God is for that person. Or am I just for myself?
Yeah.
I think that's really the question that I have to ask is, am I for other people or am I for myself? Because if I'm for other people, it might still be challenging, but I'll be more willing to step outside of my comfort zone and say, oh, well, I can be inconvenienced because this is worth it. This person is worth it.
Yeah.
And I think that's, whether I like to admit it or not, where I fail the most is am I willing to be inconvenienced?
Yeah. And along with that, am I willing to become something that I'm not?
That's right. Yeah.
Am I willing to allow the Lord to build patience in my life? Am I willing to allow the Lord to build a slowness towards anger in my life? Am I willing to allow the Lord to grow my compassion for stupid people? Like, I mean, that's because that's where that it's like, well, they're just being stupid.
Yep.
As were you.
I was gonna. Yeah.
As was I.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll raise my hand to that one. It's like,
yeah.
Hi.
And
it's me.
And I'm grateful that there were people that were patient, and kind, and generous, and honest, and willing to confront, and all of those things. But because they were all of those things, it didn't compromise the relationship.
Right.
And there's this idea many times that says, well, if I just tell somebody about Jesus, that my responsibility at that point is done.
Yeah.
You know, well, it's okay. I told them about Jesus and that's it. Well, what does it really look like to be patient with that? I mean, what we're offering is we're offering you an opportunity to come and lay down your life. I hope that wouldn't be a one-time conversation. Because if it was a one-time conversation, I'm not always convinced that people understand the seriousness of what they're doing.
Yeah,
I've seen too many people that came into what they would say was a relationship with Jesus with way too much in tow. Their old life, their habits, and they think, well, I can just bring these things with me. And I can't remember if it was Spurgeon or whoever that said, he bids me come and die.
Mm-hmm.
And, and that's a big reality. And that's a decision that should not be made lightly.
Yeah.
And oftentimes requires a fairly significant amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I love this person, I'm really willing to walk with them
Yeah.
a long ways in this.
Right.
And to what does it look like? One of the greatest tools that we have in witnessing is the ability for someone to see us live our lives.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that Kelly and I did when our kids were much younger is that, and we were in student ministries, is we would essentially, we would kind of, we called them our Thursday kids. We would adopt a kid on Thursdays, which meant that I was going to go pick them up from school after school. And this was always usually a junior or senior in high school. We could only do one at a time. And so we would do them for semesters. And part of the discipleship process in that was, hey, I'm going to pick you up. Thursdays was parents' night. Thursdays was family night in our home.
Yeah.
And we had a list of things that were on the, hey, you get to pick what we do tonight.
Nice.
99% of them were free, and the other 1% were cheap because we had no money. But the way that we would do that is that it was on a rotating basis, and so every week a different kid would get to choose from the list what we were going to go do.
Nice.
Go down. We're going to go for a walk in the park. We're going to go play the cheap putt-putt in Landa Park. We're going to whatever it was. We had passes to the zoo, family pass to the zoo. You could choose to do that. And part of what we would say is that we're going to champion one another. And so when it's that person's turn to pick, we're going to participate with joy.
Yeah.
We're going to be engaged and be involved. And with our Thursday kid, we would invite them in and we'd say, hey, you're a Thursday kid, and so this week it's your week.
Nice.
And you get to pick what we all go do, and we're going to celebrate that. And, there were people that was like, well, don't you think that your time would be better spent doing a Bible study with them or, doing these different things or putting them through this? And while I think that there is a place for that, what I wanted them to see was I wanted them to see an example of how we lived our lives. Yeah. I'm going to give you proximity.
Yep.
I'm going to do life with you. And the beautiful thing over the years that we did this was that we would see kids, because most of them were in high school, and we had little kids at the time, and they would start picking things when it was their week to choose what they thought that our kids would want to do. And they were sacrificing for themselves because they saw Kelly and I sacrificing for them and sacrificing for our kids and saying, this is what love really looks like. Now we would still, and I would tell them, I was like, hey, if you do this as one of our Thursday kids, you not only have all of the rights of our family, you also have all the responsibility.
It's good.
And so you now represent us. And so there was a discipline aspect to it as well, that when they were messing up somewhere, I would come and speak to them like a father and say, hey, we're not going to do this. But they're experiencing all of the other attributes of that. That it was very easy for them to receive. It may have been painful, but it was easy for them to receive those words. Because they were experiencing all the rest. And I think that is a lot of like Jesus walked with these disciples for 3.5 years. He allowed them to experience his life in a very intimate way, at times a very confrontational way, at other times a very experiential way. And he just challenged them to come alongside and watch the way that he lived.
Yeah. Well, and I love that because I think it paints a picture of such a simple discipleship.
Yeah.
But I think it's so simple that if we're not careful, we can easily miss it. You know what I mean? Like all you did is you just saw who was already around you, like who the Lord already placed you in proximity with and who the Lord put in proximity to you. But you had to be intentional to invite them in.
Yeah.
And
that's not always easy. I mean, there were times it was inconvenient to have an extra person in our home.
Sure.
There were times when I wasn't great emotionally that I'm like, well, dang, now I've got this extra kid in my home, and what I really want to do is just go sit down on the ground over there and dig a hole in the sand. And yet it in many ways it forced us out of our own comfort zone. It reminded us that this is not all about us. And that we have not just a great responsibility, we have a great opportunity.
That's right.
To invest in these ways. But that takes a lot of intentionality, and it takes some discomfort.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest, there's a lot of Christians that just care a whole lot more about their comfort than they do about their calling.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. In kind of beginning to land the plane, I know we're going to be talking about this a lot over the coming weeks and months. But if someone was listening to your message, I'm going to have to try to do this in two parts.
Okay.
Either maybe the Holy Spirit brought some conviction and they realized, I'm pretty wrapped up in my own world. I need to be better about seeking and saving the lost and reaching out. You know, we can't save, Jesus saves. We make that clear. But they realize I need to be more intentional about discipleship and evangelism. The other side is, you talked a little bit about this in your message too, is you've got someone in your life that you love. Maybe it's a family member or someone that you work with or someone that you're in proximity to, and you know that they don't know the Lord and you want to evangelize to them. But then there's a but that comes in. There's a hurdle. What if they reject me? What if I don't know how to answer all their questions? Blah, 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 blah. I guess maybe this is a good way to tackle both of these things.
Okay. What's
the first step for someone that either saying, I need to be more intentional about evangelism? How do I take that first step towards somebody that I love that needs to know Jesus, but I'm afraid to?
Yeah.
What's your, again, I know that those can be personalized, but what's kind of the...
Again, I'm drawing a blank on who said it. Famous theologian, he said, preach the gospel always, and when necessary, use words. There is this idea that says, unless I'm standing on a street corner shouting out the gospel, that I'm not preaching the gospel. No, you're preaching a gospel every day to the people around you. How do people around you describe you? And how congruent or incongruent is that definition with their understanding of who Jesus is? The goal in the gospel is to preach Jesus. What is my life preaching to the people around me? And if there are people specifically that I am making an attempt to witness to, maybe the first introduction to that is showing them a different way of life, which should challenge you. Because if there's not really much difference in the ways that you're living your life and the way that they're living their life, they're not going to be super convinced that anything really needs to change in their life.
That's right.
The language that you use, the way you respond to problems in your life, how you speak about your spouse.
Yeah.
What you believe about your children.
Yeah.
Something as simple as when you sit down for a meal. I'm a little bit different maybe in this regard. You know, people are always like, well, why do you bless your food? I'm like, look, I don't think that what you're actually looking for is, you know, God bless this mess that I'm about to, you know.
Yeah. No, I wanted to turn the cake into carrots.
That's right. It's like I don't know that Big Mac is ever going to really add the kind of nutrition. Yeah. But here's what I would say. We sit down to eat on a regular basis. Use that as an opportunity to thank the Lord for his provision.
That's right.
My kids used to always say, Dad, you forgot to pray for the food.
Yeah.
I'm like, my goal in us gathering at this time to pray is not to pray for the food.
Right.
My goal is to thank the Lord for his provision.
Yeah.
To thank the Lord for my family.
Right.
To ask him to continue to use us. And so it's a hard stop in my life. Like, hey, we're going to sit down and eat. Let's take a moment to thank the Lord for all that he's done for us.
Yeah.
Like this is just a good break.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how people respond to that habit.
Yep.
Yep. And I mean, you're sitting down and guys that just dive right in and I'm like, hey, would you mind if I prayed real quick? Oh yeah, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I've never had anybody say, nope, man, I'm going to keep eating.
Yep.
It's like, even if they have no context of Jesus and all these other things, they're pulling their hats off. They're doing whatever. Like maybe they fold their hands. They don't know what to do.
Right.
But what I want them to see is I want them to begin to notice things about my life that are different.
That's right.
Which almost always eventually leads to a conversation.
Yeah.
Hey man, why do you do that? Oh man, I want to tell you about a guy that has absolutely changed my world. Yeah. I want to share with you who I was and this man who died for me and changed everything. Yeah. And you're now seeing the man that you see today. Yeah. I was like you in many ways.
That's good.
And yet I've got to be in proximity to those people in order for that to happen. And sometimes that takes place over long periods of time before I ever have the opportunity to share the verbal gospel of Jesus Christ with them. Yeah. And sometimes it's very quick. Yeah. Sometimes their hearts are just primed and ready.
This could be a whole separate thing, so I'm not going to go too far. But I think we have to remember, again, number one, we don't save people. Jesus saves people. And I think that's challenging sometimes to us because we're either planting seeds or we're watering. God's the one who makes it grow. And we might not see that harvest.
Put that on a shirt.
We should put that on a shirt.
Are you wearing that shirt today? Is that the shirt you're wearing?
Yeah. Not planned. Unlike you calling me on Sunday morning wanting to match me.
Whatever.
But I think, again, what's so beautiful about that is not that we need a reason aside from God tells us to, but it does paint a pretty clear, vivid picture that the way we live matters. Yeah. Because whether we realize it or not is that people are watching.
You're preaching the gospel with your life.
100%.
Yeah.
And even, I don't want to say just, our kids and our families are our number one ministries, but even if it's quote unquote just our kids seeing us,
Yeah.
that should be all the reason that we need to say, I ought to live the way Jesus wants me to live.
Yeah.
And if I'm not, I need help changing to be like that, because they're going to grow up one day and they're going to do the thing that they saw dad do, and
Yeah.
you know, for better or for worse.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean, let me make this very clear, that doesn't mean living a perfect life.
Right.
You're going to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
You have an opportunity in those mistakes
Yep.
to reveal Jesus
Yeah.
by humbling yourself and owning. I was talking with a young man the other day, and I just said, hey, sometimes, like, if you have responsibility in part,
Mm-hmm.
you've got to be willing to own it in full.
Right.
And not try to make excuses for this part or that part, but just to say, okay,
Yeah.
I'm just going to own it, and I'm going to trust the Lord with it.
Mm-hmm.
And he did, and the situation worked out great. And he departed with his integrity, and there was no effort to explain or defend or anything else. Mm-hmm. And it was noted of him that he handled it the right way, you know. And I think there's something to be said for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, that's good. Well, thank you for taking some time out of your day to dive into your message. Like I said, I know this is going to be the thing that leads us at least up till Easter, if not longer. You know, but really excited. I don't know how else to say it other than I'm really excited to dive into this, because whether it's the past of guilt and shame, mm-hmm. or the fear of rejection or not knowing what to say or how to say it, I think this is a topic, issue, truth, mm-hmm. that we all know. I think at some level we ought to be doing this, but for whatever reason, there's something that's keeping us from living out the Great Commission just on a consistent daily lifestyle, way. So thank you again for taking some time out of your day. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Monday Moments. We hope that the Lord spoke to you out of Sunday's message, out of this conversation. If he did, if you'd be willing, we would love to hear what he's sharing with you. I think that would be a real encouragement, not just to us, but to other people who watch and listen to this podcast on a regular basis. Because if there's something that I go through, you go through, there's a good chance that somebody else is going through it too. And they would take a lot of encouragement mm-hmm. from hearing what the Lord is saying to you and encouraging you. So please share that if you would be so bold and so willing to do that. As always, thank you again, and we will see you next week.